This is American Ground Radio. I'm Stephen Parr with Louis R. Avalone.
All right, so now the Republicans are defunding the police.
No, they're not.
I don't know if you heard this or not.
I've heard it, but it's not. I was going to put it in the Fake News Friday segment.
I mean, do they ever grow tired of living a lie? And if they don't, why the heck not? And if they do, why won't they stop?
Well, it's all about gaslighting. This, again, the Democrat Party is all about power. And when they realize that the policies they've been pushing are not popular, they try and gaslight you and blame it on the Republicans. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
But don't they ever get tired of living a lie or telling lies?
No.
You know, I get it. I mean, we lie to ourselves all day long. I mean, we tell ourselves that we're smarter and we're better looking than we actually are.
Yeah, guilty.
That we will be happy when we get that raise or maybe lose that weight, get the car.
Sure.
That we're too old for this, don't have time for that. Those jeans don't make your butt look so bad.
That I don't need hair plugs.
I'm just saying, we lie to ourselves all day long.
Sure.
I get that.
Yeah.
We don't want to admit what is true many times, because then we have no choice but to change. So what's Jen Psaki going to do at this point? Is she going to change parties? She's going to admit that she's wrong? I mean, she's going to continue to lie and say that it's the Republicans that are actually wanting to defund the police? We've got the clip.
We've got the clip.
I understand what you're saying there. However, there are lots of examples of Democrats explicitly saying they want to defund the police. We've got Congresswoman Cori Bush, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar. Are there any examples of Republican members of Congress saying they want to defund the police?
I think most people would argue that actions are more important than words, wouldn't you say?
Well, to that point,
I don't understand that. Look,
She can't name a single Republican. Now, she tried to say that the Republicans were not in favor of a bill from a long time ago, or because that would provide funding to the police. But saying that you don't want to increase funding for the police from the federal level is not a decade ago.
No, her argument
is not
was
the same as I want to defund the police today.
Well, no, her argument was that Republicans had voted against Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, and by doing so, they were guilty of defunding the police.
That's not what that plan was supposed to be about.
Even the Washington Post gave her 3 Pinocchios for this lie about Republicans. They said, this is in the Washington Post, although Republicans all opposed Biden's coronavirus relief package, no Republican voted to cut or defend anything. Rather, it was Democrats who proposed a $350 billion in emergency funds for state and local governments. Republicans voted against those extra funds. That's not a reduction.
That's not a reduction. But see, Democrats do this all the time. They say we're going to cut taxes or we're going to cut spending, and all they do is they actually cut the proposed increase in spending. They don't cut spending. Spending grows. They say we cut spending. No, you didn't. You're a liar.
Oakland, California, city run by Democrats for years, they decided to cut their police budget by $18 million, even while crime was spiraling out of control.
How's that working for you?
Well, shootings in Oakland increased by 70%, homicides by 90%, carjackings by 88%.
Who could have predicted that kind of chaos if we get rid of the police? Gosh, that's just crazy.
There are at least a dozen other cities who have cut police budgets. These are cities
Portland,
all run by Democrats.
Minneapolis.
Even Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
They unanimously voted to cut $150 million, which is roughly 1/3 of their police budget in Austin.
And Austin used to be one of the safest cities in the entire country, certainly one of the safest cities even in Texas. What happens when you cut the budget for the police? Oh, gosh, crime goes up.
Okay, we can get all sidetracked by the facts here. But the bottom...
Sidetracked by the facts.
No, sidetracked. Because the larger issue is that this administration continues to lie to the American people. They continue to lie to themselves.
That's
and
a
this
fact.
is exhausting because you tell a lie, and then you need to tell an additional lie to cover for the original lie you told. Then you have to keep remembering all that you lied about. And before long, the current story conflicts with your previously told stories, which then leads to more lies to cover up the old lies just so that your bull you-know-what story makes sense. And this is, if you think this is exhausting for the liars, what do you think it's like for the American people to keep up with when they all have full-time jobs?
But see, I
they're
don't think
trying
they
to
do.
raise families. They're trying to balance their checkbook. They're trying to just hold it all together. And you can't keep up with lie after lie after lie.
I don't think the American people are even trying to keep up with it. I think they've just tuned a lot of it out. Look at how much the American people have no respect for people in Congress. None, right? It's because of people in Congress for years and years and years have been lying to us. I think the American people are like, I'm done with it. I don't believe anything coming out of your mouth.
Okay, so I mean, it's conventional wisdom. Politicians lie.
Right.
They promise you the world.
Right.
They deliver very little.
I'm fighting
Okay,
for you.
Fair
No,
enough.
you're not.
But here's the difference with the lie that Jen Psaki put out there, that Republicans are the ones that are defunding the police. Because what that lie does is it lets off the hook every Democrat, every leftist liberal out there.
That's why she did it.
I understand. But the difference is this lie costs lives. Because 2020 was the most violent year, one of the most violent years in recent times for our police officers.
Yeah.
Officer deaths jumped nearly 60% in 2020 compared to 2019. And you've got this anti-police sentiment that has been rising, and it's fueled in part, in almost exclusively, I should say, by the Democrat Party.
It is. It is. You're absolutely right. It's the Democrat Party that's pushed this. It's the Democrat Party that voted for it. It is the Democrat Party that sat by as people went and murdered police officers, and they didn't even give a damn.
Even Joe Biden euphemistically called for reallocating police resources.
Right.
What does that mean?
It means defunding the
Kamala
police.
Harris.
Yeah.
What did she say? She applauded Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti for defunding his city's police. And she said, we have to reimagine public safety. I mean, this is coming from the very top. The fish rots from the head down.
I don't need imaginary police officers. I don't need to reimagine policing. I need a reinvestment in actual police. I don't need imaginary police trying to keep me safe. I need real ones out there, and that means you're going to have to pay them.
And guess what? Police officers are not perfect.
No, of course not. No one is.
There is police misconduct for all you folks out there that say, oh, a couple of white guys, you don't see the world the same way. But I'm not saying that there's not police misconduct.
No.
I'm not saying that there's some police officers who should not be police officers, just like there are bad plumbers or doctors or lawyers that could do their jobs better as well.
There's legal misconduct. There's automobile mechanic misconduct. There's welder misconduct. Every single profession has some level of misconduct in it because it's filled with people, and people are flawed.
But without the police, without law and order, we have nothing. Police officers voluntarily place their own lives in harm's way to serve our communities, to protect our children, even though they may never get to see their own children, their own families again in doing so.
And the least we can do is be honest to them about who it is who doesn't think they're worth a damn.
And Jesus was absolutely right, as he was on everything. The truth will set you free. Jen Psaki, are you listening?
Probably not. Let's get to the top 3 things you need to know before tomorrow. Well, 2 Americans appear to have been arrested by police in Haiti for the assassination of Haiti's president, Jovenel Moïse. One of the Americans, James Solanges, is believed to also be of Haitian descent. The other suspect's name has not been released. The 2 men were captured after a gun battle with police that ended up with at least 4. I've seen reports as many as 7 other suspects being killed in that gun battle.
His wife was shot as well. She was
the president's wife.
The president's wife.
Yeah.
She was airlifted, transported to Fort Lauderdale for care. But there's so much going on in Haiti. There's so much corruption, mismanagement of those funds that were intended for those natural disasters. And this president that was assassinated, he dissolved the nation's parliament this past January.
Oh, there's a lot going on, but it's not good that Americans were involved. The second thing you need to know before tomorrow, Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Avenatti, was sentenced today to 30 months in prison for trying to blackmail Nike for $20 million. Avenatti, who represented former porn star Stormy Daniels, was trying to sue Trump at the time, and was a star among Trump's hating leftist news organizations like CNN and MSNBC. Avenatti told Nike that another client of his had information that they were secretly paying top high school basketball players to wear their products. He demanded them pay him off to keep him silent. There's still other cases out there like that. He defrauded Stormy Daniels for $300,000 and another case of defrauding clients in Los Angeles.
Well, you say all the time, power causes brain damage.
It does.
And here's the thing with someone like Michael Avenatti. The mainstream media gave him literally unlimited, unfettered power. He could go on any show he wanted.
And that could happen. Third thing you need to know before tomorrow, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear announced he will be sending around 200 National Guard troops to help out the southern border next year. The Democrat governor made sure to point out that this troop deployment was part of a request made by the Biden administration, continuing a mission trip that was started under the Trump administration. He said it was not in response to requests from the governors of Texas and Arizona for help enforcing the law along the border regions of those states.
Wait a minute. You're saying the Biden administration is urging National Guard troops to go to the border? Does that mean there's a crisis there?
Gosh, that would make sense. Let's ask Jen Psaki.